Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another live author chat brought to you by Sisters Reviewing Books. I'm Amber, and this is my sister Crystal, and we are featured bloggers for the Coastal Magic Convention. Um, and every month leading up to the convention, we strive to bring you a really fun look at a featured author so that we can all become fast friends before we get together in February. So, speaking of February, if you're new around here, Coastal Magic Convention is a super fun reader and author event happening in Daytona Beach, Florida, February 19th to the 22nd. So, literally, any week now, we are all going to be hanging out together. It's all about great stories, awesome conversations, and connecting us with the storytellers that we love. So today we are thrilled to be chatting with the fabulous Veronika Kane. She is a USA Today best-selling author known for her fun, spicy monster romances. Her books blend humor, heart, and swoon-worthy orcs in a cozy small town settings. And yes, I said swoon-worthy and orcs in the same sentence. We will certainly be getting into that. So we're going to be talking her books, her writing, and all things Veronika Kane in just one moment. Crystal is going to explain bingo and how everybody watching now can maybe win something and participate during the event. And then we are going to get this ball rolling. And if you saw our chat last year, we could literally go anywhere in the world. So buckle up. Let's get ready.
Um, yes, awesome. So bingo, there is a link for the bingo card in a couple of different places. If you can't find it, somebody in the chat can give it to you. Snag a bingo card, and we will basically just jump around and talk about a lot of things. I promise you, you will get bingo. Some things we're going to talk about are going to check off several boxes. If you enter your bingo through chat to me, to our sisters reviewing books, you'll be entered in a drawing to win an ebook of Veronika Kane's and get to read some of those swoon-worthy orc stories that we're all excited about. So awesome. Okay, so let's get this thing started and let Veronika Kane go ahead and talk and tell us a little bit about you and what you write and just say hi.
First of all, what a fabulous intro. Thank you so much. I didn't write that. That is just lovely. I really appreciated all those kind words you said in my author intro.
Yes.
Bingo.
Uh, so
Check.
hi. I'm really good at bingo. I'm Veronica. I am in my alternate life. I am Caroline Lee, and I have attended I was going to say in my real world, but that's not really. I've attended Coastal Magic. This will be my third or fourth time. The first couple times were as Caroline. Last year was Caroline and Veronica, and this year I'm attending as Veronica with Caroline in the backup. Caroline is coming. She's brought her costumes, but
I'm so
Veronica's going to be.
excited we're going to get to meet her and see her there because I was sad I wasn't going to see Caroline Lee, but she'll be there. So,
She will be there, assuming we have something to talk about. So Caroline writes historical romance, hot, hilarious historicals. So I've got, we're all ready to go for our timeless tales stuff. If there's any sort of historical moments, but otherwise I'll be there in turquoise. Caroline also shows up in turquoise, but Veronica shows up with turquoise hair, which is how you can know the difference.
yes.
It
It took
also helps me.
me it took
Uh,
me a really long time to realize that's what's going on last year at Coastal. I was like, "Oh, awesome. We're changing it up." And then I was like,
Sometimes
"Oh,
she's blue.
I
Uh,
figured it out
so
by like day 2. I got it."
so as Caroline, I've been published for about 15 years. I've probably got 150 books across several genres, different pen names, different spice levels. I have everything from sweet historical Western fairy tales all the way up through the contemporary European princes. Um, in all levels of heat. For the last several years, have been focused on hot, hilarious historical Scotsmen. So most of my heroes are Scottish. And 2 years ago, I started this pen name Veronica to write orcs. Why? Because I like orcs. Uh, so I fell in love with I fell in love with alien romance first. And then alien romance sort of led me into monsters because monsters can take place on Earth in the anywhere that we already know and love. You don't have to invent a whole new planet. They can take place in the cute little small town down the road. And I like it blew my mind. I love that. And I immediately started like brainstorming. And sure enough, 6 months later, I had a whole backlog of books. And I mean, as Veronika, I think I've put out 25 books in 2 years.
Yeah, I know
I've
it's going very quickly. It was one, and then all of a sudden I was like, wait, how long have we been doing this?
So I had when I came to Coastal last year, I had all of my orc books, and I had an offer for 7 book bundles. So I had quite a lot of people that pre-ordered or purchased at a 7 book bundle. And this year, when I went to go set up my pre-order form, I realized that I was doing pre-orders for 14 books. So I have a second 7 book bundle. So I've done 7 new orcs just in that series. I've done 4 other orcs in a different series.
Well, the people are ravenous for the orcs because that's all I heard for a year straight. 5 a.m. in the morning, the group chat was going off. Hey guys, I finished the workbook. It was amazing. 10 p.m. on a Friday night. Hey guys, guess what? It's orcs all day long.
Amber's
Orcs.
like, I'm gonna have to read one of these things.
I've read 2 of them now, so I'm ready
Good
for the
job. I
third.
did see that.
Yes,
I need to bring you one to say.
I'm in the cool club now. It took me a minute to get there, but I'm there.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
I
not
knew she would.
everybody's thing, and that's okay.
No, but
I knew
apparently
she would
it is
enjoy them.
everybody's thing because we have
Apparently.
people in our reading challenge chit chat that we do that I wouldn't think are into orcs, and apparently we are all into orcs. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't know about these orcs, I just read it, I guess, or people are gonna blow you up at 5 a.m. telling you to read it.
I just want to pause to say I think we've knocked off a couple of things because you answered a couple of my questions and one that we may go back and touch on a few of them. I thought I had like I did orcs with a lot of exclamation points. I think that's entered the chat. So you guys can go ahead and knock that one off. And I think you also touched a little bit on origin story. And then I was just thinking in general, I mean, we had you at Coastal Magic and that you're just hilarious and I love so many things about you, but I don't even know how you started as a writer. I don't know. It doesn't come to mind right away, like your origin story, like how
Okay,
and
it's a
when
really
did you
good one.
start writing? Okay.
Oh, okay, good. Tell us.
Lo, these many years ago. Okay, so I have a very short attention span, which is why I tend to write shorter. And it's taken me a long time. Like I have written 100,000 word books, and they were miserable, but I know now where my happy place is. So I've always told myself stories. And in fact, when people ask, how do you come up with these stories? My answer is always like kind of surprised. Like, do you not have a million stories running through your head at all times anyhow? So like it's been there my whole life. That's how I put myself to bed as a child. And I think this is really common. I think many authors experience this. But my attention span was always too short to ever write something. And then in 2012, I found an open call from Harlequin, and they wanted a 20,000 word story, which is very short. That's like half a novella. They wanted a 20,000 word story on a very specific theme. It was going to be Christmas. It had to be, I think it had to be sweet. I don't remember, but I wrote it, and I was like really freaking I was quite proud of myself. I wrote an entire story beginning to end that had a plot and characters, and like I didn't trail off halfway through because I saw a squirrel. Like I was really proud of myself. And then I got it edited, like by a friend who was like an English major, and she was like, "Yeah, this is quite good." And I sent it off to Harlequin, and then I got a rejection letter because it was my first ever story I ever wrote. Like, no, but by this point, I was like, this is actually quite a good story, and I would like to share it with the world because I'm quite proud of it. I would like to put it on the internet. The internet exists for things like this. I had heard tell of forums, you see. I had never participated in so-called forums, but I knew that there were forums for people to share stories with. So I get online and I'm like, how to find forum to share free story. And one of the first results that popped up was self-publish your book with Amazon's KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. And I was like, swell, okay. KDP is actually very easy to use. Like it's 3 pages, you just click a bunch of things and upload your story and you're off, right? And 2012 me was quite impressed. And I did it, and I got to the very end, and it said, you have, how much does it cost? And I said 0.00. And they said, no, you have to charge money for this. And I said, well, goodness, 99 cents. Like I just put it out there. I was thinking like, and to my complete and utter surprise, it was a Christmas story. I think I published it in November. And people bought it. People read it. People reviewed it. Some of them were good. Some of them were bad. I was flabbergasted. I actually published it under my real name, which I happened to share with another author who was publishing in a similar genre at the time, and I didn't know it. So all of the bad reviews were, like getting on me for that. So about 3 days after I published my first book, I found that out and quickly
How
chose the name
dare you have the
Caroline.
same name?
Yes. So I chose the name Caroline Lee because I was a Carolina girl and my husband was Lee. His last name is Lee, so Caroline Lee. And like I had a published book out there and people were reading it and I was earning 33 cents for every sale. Yeah, and so the next
Can I borrow some money?
so,
You're rich now.
the next Christmas I did it again. Like I wrote another sweet historical Western Christmas story and it did even better. Like this one went bonkers, but I put in all of these other secondary characters. And so by 2014, I was writing the secondary characters. I did 3 books. 2015, I think I tried to branch off into a different genre and it didn't work. I only did 1 book. And by 2016, I was back and I think I did 8 books. And, like it's just, so I always tell people I accidentally got into publishing. I really just intended to like find a forum and put my book up because I was just proud of it.
Yeah.
I've had so much fun listening to your story. So thank you for sharing because I love your enthusiasm. And once or twice I was like, I think Caroline and Veronika you're kind of a character in your own life. And I think that's awesome. You're so much fun.
Yes.
I just we could write a book about that. But I'm curious because to follow up with it, I have this on the bingo card all the time and we just don't ever get to this level. But author moment, like when did you feel, because I think you put it on the internet and people bought it, and like was that the first time you were like, oh my gosh, I'm an author? Or when did you feel, what is a moment or something that was kind of special to you that you were like, I'm an author, like I write books? Like do you have a moment like that, like when you held a book that you did for the first time? Or
2016 was pretty cool. That was when I mean, I wasn't making, millions, but that was when I was able to stop I had 2 part-time jobs. I was able to quit my first part-time job in order to focus that chunk of time on writing. At the time, there was a lot of, God, that was 10 years ago.
Oh, don't do the math. No,
Oh.
Veronika, don't do the math.
Never mind, it wasn't.
Just the other day. The other
Just
day.
the other day. And there was still a lot of like indie authors aren't real authors. So I mean, I was attending a monthly writing group and I was going through this phase, or not phase, but like this time where I'm like, look, I'm making actual money, not like pay the mortgage money, but I'm making actual money, enough money that I can quit a part-time job. I also had a baby in 2016. That didn't help. But but at the same time, then I'm surrounded by other authors who are kind of like poo-pooing indie authorship. So I'm not really a real author because I haven't had my book published in by a publisher. And I think that that's definitely changed now. And I don't think, even then, not everybody was like it was just that it was a very vocal, and I felt it very much like maybe I'm not a real author. So I think it was a few years before I was like, I kind of woke up one day, I was like, huh. My husband quit his job in 2019 to take care of the kids, and I have supported the family ever since. So I guess that might be a moment. I don't know.
Yeah.
it's cool.
He's coming to the conference.
Woo!
He's never been.
Oh, he's in for a treat.
I know.
We love when the husbands come in and get.
He's gonna wear his kilt.
Oh, okay now.
I told him he had to dress like an orc. He said I don't look like an orc, and I said I don't care.
Let's take
You're gonna make him do like just a green bodysuit, or are we talking paint?
I'm sure it'll just be a t-shirt.
Oh, come on.
It seems like an overcommitment. Like,
I'll tell him all the ladies are excited to see him.
I'm trying to. Okay, so I want to say that one of the question that you kind of talked about works, and if you have more to add, you can, but it was kind of an audience question too. We have, as Amber's mentioned, lots of people who love your work series. And Ashley said that she loved it and she just wanted to know where you got the idea. I'll take hers. 'Cause I think you commented about orcs and about how it started with alien romance and all. Um, what about like the Isle Shores? Help me.
East Shore Isles.
There you go. Like that whole idea that behind that, because the first one I didn't really quite catch it because she's just, but that first book that you start to get what you're building there, and for is beautiful, by the way. Like I think I cried through the end of one of the books, and I think I wrote about it. It's like I don't know how I don't when people talk about romances and they say, oh, it was deep, for a romance it was deep. Like I don't mean it like that, but I didn't expect like the theme of kind of the found family and the idea of fitting in and the idea of having a place and learning like your community. I didn't
Yeah, I
expect
think
I didn't expect
the second book sold it for me. The first book was cute. The second book, I was like, I'm about
Well,
to
I think
read
the first
these.
book is the
I'm about
prequel,
to read
right?
all
It's like
these
the
workbooks,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
The
I'm
little
about to go.
intro.
I'm about to go all the way down
Yeah.
and finish these workbooks and be raving about them like everybody else.
And on top of that, as I had to say in the thing, you like alternate like the super sweet, super whatever with super steamy, because all I'll say is hot tub. Okay. I'm like, oh my
I
gosh.
put it in the author's note. In the author's note, I was like, please do not take hot tub maintenance advice from a
Yeah.
romance author.
She's like, it's fine. I clean it really well. I'm like, no,
Yeah, I'm like,
I
please
don't think
don't
that's
tell
how
her.
it works, lady.
And when we read our books, we just try not to. It's
Yes.
fantasy,
All
okay?
fantasy, right? There's no such thing as a UTI or
Oh, okay.
kidney
Yes,
infection.
exactly.
But
So,
no,
so
I love it.
actually, the reason that the first book, and I think you're talking about the prequel, which is
Yes,
My
the
Orc
prequel.
Bodyguard. It's the really
Yeah.
short
Oh
one.
yeah,
That's why I keep going to
that's
see
the
it.
first one I read. I don't know where they are in any
It's,
order, really.
but it was written. I wrote the first 3 books and then went shit because I hadn't even launched the pen name. But I went, I need to have a reader magnet. I need to have a very short
Right.
prequel book that I can like give out for free so that people can come like get invested in the series. But by that point, I had already written like 3 of these plots, and I didn't have a place to stick in another character. Like if I had written, I had to go back and write the prequel, but then I would have had to write these characters into all of the other already written books
Right.
because it is all about found family and community and
Yes.
stuff. So
Yeah.
instead, I had to come up with a plot where they could arrive on the island and then leave the island and not show back up for another 4 books. So that's what happened.
But it was good. It was a good introduction to what was going on
Yeah.
and all that.
But yeah. So as Caroline, I've written probably 45 small town romances, and it's my jam. Like even my fantasy orcs are technically small town. They're just in a fantasy world. I love the idea of neighbors coming together and a community coming together and people fighting for the same cause, which happens the first couple of books of this series, or just sort of supporting one another. I have quite a few holiday books over the years of different genres, so I love to do small town holiday books because I love the idea of the community coming together. Now, I have been to many small towns in real life, and I know that it's not always a wonderful, feel-good, happy place, but in my books, it is, damn
You
it.
want it to be though. That's the
Exactly.
whole
It's the
magic
Hallmark.
of it.
I actually had somebody describe it. It's the Hallmark series of green orc.
Of orcs.
Yeah,
The
it
orc
is.
Hallmark
Yeah.
series. Well, I mean, again, it's a little spicier than this.
Yes, there's actually more curse words in the actual description, but I wasn't sure how many words I was allowed to say on this thing.
And
It's
that reminds
Hallmark with orcs.
another question that I guess this kind of rounds about to for me is I always like to ask authors like where do you show up in your books, and is it something intentional like you, your personality, who you are, or is it something that you look back at later and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's me, like I picked that up because I think we always ask you about other people, like who you get inspiration, but I know you have to
Oh
be
my
showing up in your book
gosh.
somewhere. So
Oh my gosh, what a great question. I mean, I think that morally I'm obligated to say I appear in every one of my books and all of my characters
It's a
are a
piece
piece of
of
me,
me.
which is probably true, right? Um, there are characters that are more me than others. Usually like not necessarily the sunshiny ones, but like more of the kind of quirky, bouncy,
Mhm.
optimistic maybe is the word. I mean, I'm not necessarily sunshiny, but like that's me. Um, I have when you get to the third book of the series, um, nope, that's not me. Is it? No, she's the really serious librarian. It's a reverse. It's not Grumpy Sunshine because
No.
she's not grumpy, but it's Black Cat Golden Retriever. So he's like the really goofy Golden Retriever, and she's like really more serious and career driven. And I basically for that book, I basically just followed my husband around for a couple of weeks and wrote down shit he said, and then I put that in the book because, and then later I was like, well, you really are kind of Golden Retriever-y, aren't you?
Oh.
So her responses to him come from me, but I don't think that I'm particularly serious.
Well, I guess it makes me always also wonder, like, have you ever written a character that might have, I'm just curious, a characteristic that maybe isn't you, and you're like, it's like, I would never do that.
Yeah, maybe hard for you to write.
You're like,
Oh,
or it's hard to write because
Vince
you know,
character.
yeah, just not like you. I'm just curious.
um, so I have to be able to justify everything. And that's one reason that I'm really bad at writing morally gray heroes. I write like slightly smudged heroes. That's the worst I can get because I have a really hard time justifying falling in love with a genuine bad guy, right? And I know that that's the draw is the dark side and the morally gray, and he's bad for everyone but you. But um, I have a hard time writing that justification because I couldn't fall for someone like that. So I can't justify my heroine falling for, I can't get inside her head and justify that. Maybe I just need to read more of it. So I can't think of anything off the top of my head where I've said, no, that is absolutely not me. Because it's kind of my job to come up with different characters in different situations and then figure out how to think like them, how to justify them, what would this person do if I was this person? Or so I've written plenty of characters that are not me and are not my life experiences or not my personalities or not even my same mental space, but I still like that's what I have to do. I have to become them for a little bit.
Yeah, that would be hard. I mean, I just know that I do know of at least one author who has put off writing a character I really can't wait for because she's like, I just can't. Like, I can't get in her head. Like, she's not. I no, I don't want to write her, but we need her story. And I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
and I think
Yeah.
I can't wait because supposedly the story is, I think it had been hinted at that it's coming, and so I can't wait to see what she's done with it. But I was just curious. So I have a question to kind of spin back around to your orcs and being Veronika Kane versus Caroline Lee. So I always like to ask about your writing process or a routine that you might have. Like, do you write anywhere? Do you have to write in a certain spot? Do you have to have the blue hair on to write your orcs? Like, just
No, I'm
making it
wearing
today.
far
It's
more
like
clothes.
mom's writing orcs today. Like, you have to like.
God, wouldn't that be nice? No, my children ignore all of my signs. Like I have so many signs on the door. I think we've actually talked about this. We are surprise homeschoolers. We've been homeschooling for 4 years and we're still surprised about it every day. Never intended to get into it. It was during the pandemic, the kids went virtual and we bought an RV and went on the road. We've been all over the country. The kids and I have hit 49 of the 50 states as of last year. And it was incredible. And then we had to go back to the real world and we're like, this sucks. We don't like somebody else telling us what time we have to get up in the morning and what we have to do. So we started looking into homeschooling. It turned out you can't homeschool and write 12 novels a year. So our kids go to a co-op. The point is our kids are home a lot more than they should be. And we love them and we're very grateful. But they're often in my room. The youngest, at least now, will knock before she comes in. But it's been, I mean, there've been awkward moments where I'm like, no.
No. How many do you have? How many babies do you have, Veronica?
3. The youngest is 9, just turned 9.
Can you put You put them all in an RV with you and traveled around to 49 states, and
We
everybody's
have.
still alive and happy and healthy.
Yes, and that's what I think is amazing. And the oldest is 17 and he's taller than the bunk bed in the RV, but he still climbs up in there with us and does it. And it's like having all of my little chickies all in the same place. It's actually it's a tremendous happy place for me because I only write in my office at home, and I have my little chair. I'm quite lazy. It's literally a lazy boy. And then I have my computer up on a stand in front of me, and then in my lap is my keyboard. Um, and I'm wrapped in 45 shawls, and I have a hot water, uh, what do you call pillow, hot water bottle on my lap to
Sorry.
stay warm because it's the coldest room in the house. Um, that's where I write, and I've got the certain type of music that has to play to trigger it, and I will write for 10 days straight, or usually it's about 20 days straight to get a book done. Just every morning, and by the 17th day, I'm pretty much done with the entire world. I don't want to do this, but I, by golly, finish it up because on that 21st day, I get to go someplace and do something. And whether that's an RV trip, we just got back from a week skiing in the mountains, and it's turned into almost like my home is signals work. Like when I'm at home, that's where work happens, and when I leave the house and go do something else, that's when play happens. And you're lucky that I'm not bringing the kids to Coastal Magic because I have considered it because it's such a fun location. Um,
Bring
and like
them.
we all love being together. They're my people, so I bring them with me.
Well, that's so sweet.
Cute.
You may have touched on a lot of this with your answer because Madison had a
Travel.
what?
Get that off the list. We got all kinds of stuff
Yeah.
answered.
Well, Madison had an audience question, so this covers that was about camping in particular, and because I had travel on the list, so mark it off. Because I think you talked a little bit about that, and I love following. You have like another account for that I think I started following like this summer, maybe when you did Alaska or something.
Yes, I'm
That
really
was
impressed.
so much fun. Like I was, I mean, you live vicariously through people, but like Alaska looked really cool.
It
Um,
wasn't, yeah. Also
so
cold.
Madison asked if what place has the best memories, and I think she specifically said camping, but even if you want to talk about where you've traveled, and what place has the best welcoming accommodations?
So my favorite place to travel in America is Yellowstone. I'm big. We were in New York City for New Year's Eve this
Mhm.
year, and it was overwhelming. Like it was really cool, and I'm really glad we got to from our camper we could see the fireworks over the Statue of Liberty, and it was incredible. But like that many people in one place, and there were no trees, so we had to go find Central Park to be like, oh, Caroline found a tree. So for me, travel is about seeing the national park, seeing all of the incredible nature that we have spread across this pretty wide and cool continent. So Yellowstone is the place that I always say if I could go back there every year, I would. I just think it's the most incredible location. Welcoming, we go every year to a little town, a little island off the coast of Alabama called Dauphin Island. I didn't even
I've
know.
stayed there. I've
Have
been
you?
there when I
Okay.
was like 20 years old. I did. That's
I
awesome.
didn't even know Alabama had a
I
coastline
hated
until I
everything
discovered.
else about Alabama, but that island was
It's
pretty
it's
nice.
basically what started it was in 2020 my in-laws that we always celebrate holidays with they were like, look, we can't celebrate because you're gonna get us sick, and I'm like, that's fair, our kids sneeze. So we're
Journal.
like, huzzah, we can take the RV someplace for Thanksgiving and have an entire week. So I said, well, I've heard good things about Destin, Florida. And I'm like, oh, that is really expensive. Let's move over. Oh, camping in Panama. I just kept moving down the island chain until I found Dauphin Island, which was absolutely adorable. And then I discovered that it's not in Florida because Alabama had a little coastline. So we've been there 4 or 5 times for Thanksgiving. And it's just a really sweet little coastal town. Uh, that reminds me very much of Edisto Island. Maybe 50 years ago, Edisto Island is in South Carolina where my parents retired to. So, 25 years we've been going there. Um, and that is what I based East Shore on. Sort of those vibes. So like a lot of the places on that I've like the restaurants in East Shore are named after the restaurants on Edisto. It doesn't look exactly like that, of course, but
Cute.
full circle.
Oh, that's really cool. All I remember, I was kind of surprised Alabama had a shoreline too, but I've stayed right on the Floribama line. Like there's a really quaint kind
Laura
of
Bam.
cool. So the thing I learned was that because there was a Publix on one side of the line and there was a Publix on the other. And so in Georgia, if you do a buy one get one free, you can buy one and get a half price.
Yeah.
It's not like that in Alabama, just so you know.
Oh, you
You
have to buy
literally
two.
buy one and get one free, which it honestly kind of surprises me that Alabama's the one doing that, right? Because
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
how it should be.
Hey, now I feel
Yeah.
like we're really knocking Alabama, just for disclosure. I didn't mean I hated it. I'm sure there's very nice things about it, like
Very
Dublin
full.
Island.
But I just thought it was so funny because we went in and we walked out. We're like, why did that cost so much? We got all this buy one, get one free stuff. So we had to go back in. We were there for like 3 days. And we had to go back in and go, can we have another Haagen-Dazs? Another thing of 4
Yes, of
biscuits?
course, because I paid for it. I want my freebie.
Right.
But you're right. I am used to if it's buy one, get one free. That just means that one of them is half price.
So now when
But
I go
yeah.
to like new places and I'm like, is it the Georgia rule here? And somebody will be like, yes, yes, here it is. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. So that's what I learned when I also got
That's
comfortable
important.
with that
Okay.
line. So I do have, I think, well, maybe one of our last questions.
I have a question, but I want to ask my orc question.
Oh, okay. But can I really quickly, this could be a quick question because it's another audience
Write it
question.
out.
It's a fantastic audience question. So I'm so thankful that these people, these awesome CMC readers, left us some questions. But she wants to know how you keep your character straight. This is Wendy. She says she loves the series and she wants to know how you keep all the characters and their story straight because in what we've read, even from what I've read, I can tell you're kind of building to like this character and you talked about how the one character couldn't come back for 4 books because you didn't have him in there. So do you have a way you keep all your work straight in a series?
You know, like if I were
Dangerous
smart, it would be a
game.
series Bible. But like when I started, I didn't realize that this was going to be that deep. Luckily, all of my orcs look the same, which is super handy. I don't ever have to remember hair color or eye color because they're all green
Right.
with black hair.
Well, what is Mr.
Um,
Lee doing? He's home. He
he could
can
be,
get you
right? He
a little
could be
Bible
doing
girl
this.
in for that. Yeah.
Come
Could be writing
on.
your companion
Homeschooling
book.
them kids. Jeez.
Yeah, no, I just they are real people to me and they live in my head and of course I remember who they are and what they do.
I love
That's
that
not
name.
true.
It's scary.
I
Oh,
forget their names frequently. In fact,
Well,
even while I'm writing the book, I forget their names. But I know who they are. I just don't remember exactly what their names are.
good. I don't feel so bad now when I was like, oh yeah, Jess, that's right. That's her name. Gosh, why
Yeah.
can't I keep that straight?
just curious, have you ever opened the ebook version and searched for something? Like I do that all the time. If I want to remember somebody, I'm like, I'll search like the name that I think it
Oh
is and see if
yeah,
it shows up in the book. Like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. Have you ever
100%. Like shit, what's the name of the who or the dog in book 3, not to give it away. There's a couple of dogs. One of them goes home with him. So I'm like, oh, it's this name, and but I can't very well be bothered to go read the book. So instead I open up the document and I search that name. I'm like,
Yep.
yep, that appears 17 times. That must be it. And then later went, let me go check the other name. Oh, that appears 42 times. That must be the one they end up with. Okay.
audiobooks are my favorite, but I have to have the option of buying the ebook because I am constantly going to go back and look for things or if somebody has a question and we're talking about it and I can't do that in an audio.
No, in audio, no. So my
It's
husband just started audiobooks and he reads along with the e-reader and he says it's
yeah.
like having subtitles, which I think is
Mhm.
a really neat description.
And I
I
do that
can't do it
occasionally.
though.
I do it so I can list I can sit on the couch and read and then if I have to go do chores, I don't have to
Oh,
stop
that makes
reading.
sense.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, time to go to chapter 12 and go
Never
fold
has to
the
stop.
laundry.
Ever, ever. She's always reading.
Yeah. So yeah, so Amber, ask your question and then we'll
All right, my quick work question was, um, is it all male orcs? Are there female orcs in your world? Do the ladies get any love in the series? Will that be a new series or just all males
Amber,
and
that was a lot of questions.
no, it's all about the lady orcs.
So the premise of East Shore Isle, the first 10 books of East Shore Isle is that the orcs come from a world that parallels our own, that is mirrors exactly our own and is right next to our own and can be accessed through certain natural um, zones. And about 200 years ago, the orc elders realized that humans were pouring into the American West and just totally, wrecking the environment basically. And the orc elders 200 years ago said, well, this isn't good for us, and they shut down the pathways basically and said you can't. And since then, the orc clans have started to die off, and it becomes clear over the course of 25 books that basically it's very important that orcs have the influx of human blood to keep the species going. So 10 years ago, in East Shore, Iowa world, 10 years ago, a group of orcs got permission and came through the veil and entered modern day America. And hilarity ensued. It wasn't hilarious, it was bad. And now we are 10 years later and they're still dealing with their trauma. So it is basically by definition always going to be an orc male and a human female because that is what is required to continue their species. It's just that up until today, up until modern day, it's always been in the orc world. They go through, fetch a human female and bring her back. And in fact, I have quite a few books of that if you wanted that too.
Okay.
There's
I'm
some
just really,
spicy, really spicy
I'm
ones.
just really looking for female orcs, Veronica. That's really my jam. Okay.
My husband would call those forks, female orcs.
Well, we would if
Forks.
it was written in a book, but
It would. He calls space orcs
Orcs.
sporks. No, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't,
Okay.
I don't have
just
any
wanted to
forks and I
know
don't have
what
any
to
plans to write
expect.
them.
I wanted to
Amber had-
know what to expect as the series went along because I was trying to envision the lady orc all juiced up, She-Hulking it up, and then like the normal average guy. And how that would work in my brain. I was interested.
There are plenty of monster books out there.
Yeah,
There
that's
are.
perfect.
There absolutely.
Listen, I got 2 orcs.
I see this.
I'm good. 2 orcs
Um,
under my belt. Yes, I do. Okay.
Somebody asked if there's a whole biology thing. If they when they have kids, the male children look more like orcs and the female children look more like humans.
Well, we want to know all of this. Yes.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got really far into it. But yeah, it was actually I started writing. This isn't. I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm disparaging human men.
Oh.
But um when you write non-human heroes, you don't have to worry about your heroes having their own sets of goals and motivations and intentions that are going to combat against the heroines. You're never going to end up in a situation. What's the classic? They both work for the same firm and they're going up for the same promotion, and they both really want this. And how are they ever going to reach a happily ever after because they both want the same position and as the CEO or whatever, right? That's just a trope. When you're writing non-human heroes, you don't have that situation because the non-human hero is like biologically required to make his mate happy. Like that is part of who he is as a being, is how to make his mate happy. And through the course of all of my books, I really explore like the different ways that means. Does that mean 17 orgasms before breakfast? Does it mean doing all of the dishes without being asked? I have one that was really special to me. Her mother is going through chemo, and she's got 3 kids, single mom, and her mother's going through chemo, and he steps up and takes the mom to her chemo and makes sure she gets fed the correct vitamins, and so taking care of their mates and making their mates happy looks different in each book, but it's their biological imperative. It is who they are as a being. And that is not the case with human males. And that's okay. Human males are human. Their biological imperative is to make sure themselves are happy, and falling in love and building a future makes them happy. And that's wonderful. And, I've got 150 of those books too. Like, no, it's just that it's a very different very subtle, but a very different kind of vibe when you're writing or reading a non-human. And it took, like I said, I fell in love with aliens, and I couldn't figure out what it was. Why is this a different feel? And that's what it comes down to. Is it's just there can be combativeness, like the hero wants something different than the heroine wants, but he's ultimately driven to make his mate happy.
I think when to end on a very strange note in a way, because I remember when we first started CMC Reading Challenge, and we were reading books that we would have never read. There was a series that we read that was kind of an alien, romance. And what you're saying actually makes a little more sense about what we were reading. But for us, coming from the, Harlequins and your traditional romances, it felt kind of weird and over the top and a little bit like I don't know, it didn't feel right. Like it wasn't that it felt, it was just like this is kind of almost like mockery or whatever of like but when you word it, when you explain it like that, and I go back and think about that book and the things that seemed kind of silly at the time, and I realized that that's really what it was. It wasn't, like they really are all about once they find somebody that is their mate and find somebody that they are all about them, and it's not just all about a woman, it's all about their mate, that's like what's in their DNA. So I think if I were to go back and read that series now,
I have to have a reread because I know which one you're talking about.
if we went back and read it now, I think I would appreciate it a lot more because it was just new. It was new, and it was new when we hadn't read anything besides your traditional human romances.
Yeah.
And these were aliens that were humanish, like you were
Of
viewing
course.
them as human. So it was not like you
Like
were like, oh,
picturing
they're
a green orc. Yeah, there's
like
Yeah.
you're also reading like a shifter book because shifters and shifter romance has its own thing. Like Amber really enjoys
I love a
believe
good
you do
mated mate.
like
Yeah.
that kind of dominant that male alpha male kind of in a book.
He's
And
just
that
all about his
works.
lady,
Yeah,
like
and that works in shifter romance because a little bit more not dominance in a bad way, but I'm the
animalistic.
one who protects you. I'm the what that kind of
I
that
can
just
understand that behavior in sense of like a wolf,
yeah.
like how a wolf
Yes.
would be for its
And
mate.
that is how when I built the idea of my orcs, that's what I was going for, like this vibe of not necessarily the alpha and the
Yeah,
Luna of
Right.
the pack, but
make them happy.
this is fated, and we are yes,
Instinctive.
instinct, like it is primal is one word I use
Yeah. Oh,
pretty
that's a
often.
good word. Veronica, that's a good word.
Well, and on that, I think that was an interesting note to end on because I do think I always told people last year that you were kind of the gateway to monster romance. Not that I went down and read a ton of it, but you've definitely made me a little bit more interested in it. Not because I didn't want it before. There's just too many books out there. Okay,
Yeah.
there's too
Yeah.
many books, and so I wasn't going to go down that rabbit hole. And then
Fair. Fair.
and then you were
But we have to send Amber a female orc. I'll find one.
we got to find her
You
a
don't
female
have
orc
to.
book.
You certainly don't. I do like a good, with what's good for the males or good for the females. But it was more just a morbid curiosity of how you would make that work if you were going to do that. Like, I bet you she could do something great with it.
I could
If
probably do a
anybody could do
sapphic
it
romance.
and make it funny and sexy, I bet you could do it.
I'll
So
bet I could.
Definitely could. If anybody could do it, you could. So I'm pretty sure we've covered everything. We didn't get to talk about her lovely soap making, but you guys should check out. We know we're getting some soap in our goodie bags, and I loved watching you, Veronica, do the soap. I still don't quite understand when you were talking about how you get to like in the chat you have to vertically design it. I was like, I can't draw like a snowman flat on two-dimensional paper. And she's like, okay, and then I'm gonna put some red here. We're gonna do this, and I'm like, and you in your head can see that that's gonna be a snowman, and then she like cuts it, and I'm like, God dang, it's a snowman. Yeah.
she doubted you. Look at that.
So,
I doubted myself.
well, and I was so excited because it was red because you talked about how some of the color leaves, and I was like, is it going to be red? I couldn't wait to see. So,
Okay, I'll bring you one.
We just squeezed in some hobby. So there you go, guys. So we're so excited to see you at Coastal Magic again. I always get so excited when at the beginning of the year when they're announcing the ones in June at the beginning of the season. And I see I'm like, yay, Caroline Lee's back because you're so much fun. And so as Veronika Kane or Caroline Lee, you're a blast. You are the reason that I will forever say, 'tis what she said. And I know I say that to you all the time, but Amber and I were at the Renaissance Festival and I was just so tickled. And I was like, That's what she said. I was so excited. So yes, we're so excited to have you back, and this has been a lovely chat. You are awesome as
Thank you.
always.
I
As
enjoyed being able to see both of you this year.
yes, and as a closure, will you just kind of let us know what you're currently working on? You know, book 28 of the month. I don't know, and then just where people can find you and follow you, kind of your adventures, and in writing and being blue hair.
So the next Veronika book that's coming out is My Orc Protector, and it is like it is primal and instinctual and like yeah, and the heroine is not uh a good girl, although that comes up a lot. Like she's coming from a dark background, and it's called My Orc Protector, for goodness sakes. He needs to protect her. So yeah, I'm rereading that as I edit it, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, this one's hot. Um, Tomorrow, though, as Caroline, I have a release tomorrow called Her Favorite Forever, and it is the sort of the culmination of 3 series. We get to see Bull Lindsay is finally being brought low. Bull was introduced 11 books ago as a teenage pickpocket, a Victorian Scottish teenage pickpocket, and he has appeared in 11 books since then. He has featured in 4 of them as a main character, and he is now all grown up and is falling for his enemy's daughter, who is significantly younger than him. So we've got age gap, a road trip. We have, he falls in the river and she has to warm him up with her body heat. All of the just blackmail, all of the best tropes, and creative cursing. So that's tomorrow is Her Favorite Forever as Caroline. And it's also on the pre-order form if anyone is interested in pre-ordering for either Caroline or Veronika.
Awesome.
In terms of finding me, I spend a lot of time on Facebook as both, well, mainly as Caroline, but as Veronika. I have websites with my email addresses, and theoretically, I am on Instagram, but I don't check the messages very much. So yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have a really active Facebook group. I really should tell you that, like an incredibly active Facebook group.
You do.
Yes,
So
I
come,
support
like,
your group more
yeah.
than like any other group. Everybody's always chit-chatting and talking.
And
So.
they share
And
the
posting.
best
They
stuff.
do, don't they? Like it's
I
hilarious and really sexy, but like fabulous stuff that they're sharing. So
so
come
much. I
hang
wish
out.
I could remember. I think I took a screenshot recently and shared it with people. I was like, this is so funny. So it's awesome. Okay, well, thanks to everyone who's joined us tonight and asked questions before the chat, and hopefully you got bingo, because I feel like we might have gotten close to blackout for once.
I'm not a
And
pantser, I'm a plotter.
there we go.
Oh, there you go. Done.
So
We're gonna see each other in a month and just a couple days. So.
yeah, like seriously. So yay. Can't wait for Coastal Magic and Daytona, and check us out and come meet Veronika at the convention. Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you. It's lovely hanging out with you. So much fun.
So much
Thank
fun.
you for everything.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Good night, everybody.